Welcome to SKNIS Perspectives, an interactive program of the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, aired weekly on this radio station.
On this edition,
Kittitian is progressing very nicely. Construction of the first phase is almost complete.
the doors to the first five-star hotel in St. Kitts is scheduled to open by the end of the year. There is a heavy focus on agriculture at Kittitian Hill, much to the delight of the Minister of Agriculture.
Kittitian Hill is not going to be able to produce all that it needs to feed the thousands of tourists that will come through here. What we need is that close link with the farmers to ensure that they produce the right kind of stuff in the right kind of way.
I'm Ian Richards. Thank you for joining us. Kittitian Hill, a 400-acre resort project under construction at St. Paul's, will feature 2 5-star hotels, a 3-star hotel, villas, boutique, spa, intimate restaurants, a championship golf course, and more. The resort is designed to have an edible landscape with organically grown food from tropical farms. Officials from the Department of Agriculture and Cooperatives recently toured sections of the resort, including the nursery, which is divided into 2 areas, as well as the 84-cottage Belmont Farm Hotel. I joined the officials on the tour and spoke to the founder of Kittitian Hill, Val Kempadu.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and Kittitian is progressing very nicely. Construction of the first phase is almost complete, and we're scheduled to open our first hotel at the end of this year. That would be the cottage hotel called Belmont Farm, along with a few of the villas. And then after that, we'll have slowly expand the development and take it out into the second hotel, which is scheduled for the end of next year. So we're progressing very nicely. Sales have been progressing also very nicely in the international arena.
You said the first hotel. Give us a bit about the specifics in terms of like how many cottages, etc.
Okay, so Belmont Farm consists of 84 cottages. It's a 5-star hotel. We also have 2 dining experiences. We also have a gym and lobby, reception, things like that. So it's a small boutique hotel with an emphasis on farm-to-table dining, and all set within a beautiful farm environment, as the name suggests.
You took the Minister of Agriculture and also some other officials involved in agriculture on a tour today. Give us a brief sense of what you were trying to convey.
Well, one of the things, Ian, that I really wanted to show, and I was very happy that the Minister was able to take the time to come up here, was our big collection of rare tropical plants and fruits. And we have a very large collection that we've assembled over time here, and that collection is world class. We have over 80 different types of mangoes, 15 different types of avocados, and so on. So we have a very large collection of fruits, some of which people here in this country would not have seen before. So we're very proud about that, and we wanted to showcase that to the Ministry of Agriculture. And also talk about the synergies between what we're doing and the local farming communities. I mean, Belmont Farm is an organic farm, and all of these plants are going to be grown in an organic environment. But also what excites us a lot is the ability to select some of these plants and propagate them for the farmers in the local farming communities so that they can have a better planting stock. So we've imported, for instance, tissue-grown pineapples and bananas, both of which we think will significantly improve the yields of the farmers. And we'll test them first, and then we'll make available the successful cultivars.
Spoke a bit about involving local farmers. How has the message been received in terms of getting them on board to produce the type of quality and quantity as well so that Kittitian Hill requires?
Unfortunately, we have not done as much of that as I would like to. We've been focused more on the development aspects of Kittitian Hill. So we do have organic farm managers coming on board shortly, whose part of his job will be to reach out and start working those lines with the farmers, and also working with them with regards to selection of vegetable varieties and so on that are suitable for guests and the high quality that a 5-star hotel requires. We also believe there are exciting opportunities for the rest of the resorts in St. Kitts, the Four Seasons Marriott and so on, who also currently have to use imported fruits and vegetables.
So talk a bit about some of the opportunities that will be available for persons who are based not just in the community here, but also from persons throughout St. Kitts and Nevis to take advantage of here at Kittitian Hill.
Right. Well, I mean, there are 2 obvious ones, which is the construction jobs. I mean, we have 400 people on a daily basis coming to work here in Kittitian Hill. So one of the largest construction sites right now going on. And so we're very proud that all those buildings that you saw were all built by local contractors. The next phase, obviously, in the hotel opening is we employ 200 people, hotel staff. Sedona Resorts is already on the ground. Their management is currently actively starting to recruit people for the hotel opening. And so that's the second phase. But what excites me even more is not just providing direct employment but providing opportunities for young entrepreneurs and micro-entrepreneurs, people who are interested in developing small businesses, because that's where Kittitian Hill really excels. We not only embrace, we actually actively go out and encourage young entrepreneurs and people to start businesses that can help a large resort development like Kittitian Hill.
Can you give us a few examples in terms of the type of businesses that would have been created to serve Kittitian Hill?
Sure. I mean, the first one is the fact that during the construction stages, there was a lot of people who were working up here who required lunches. So there was a demand coming out of the community, and then that was filled by people coming in and providing lunches. But on a much more sustainable and long-term basis, there's farming opportunities, there's small manufacturing, there's agro-processing, which we think is going to be huge. So we've, for instance, envisaged, making jams and jellies, so that our guests can not only use them in-house, but also that they can take them home and have a piece of Kittitian Hill with them. So we believe very strongly that this is something that we can work with the community and work with community cooperatives. I just heard today about some of the cooperatives, so very excited about that.
And ultimately, the idea really is to give visitors to Kittitian Hill the unique Kittitian and Division experience. So talk to us a bit about how you're working to achieve that.
Right, I mean, we're very excited about this. We think this is really what's going to make us unique. We are very interested in people coming to St. Kitts and having a full Kittitian experience, which means being able to interact freely and openly with various members of the community. And for instance, we foresee, someone coming and saying, oh, I'm interested in fishing, but instead of having gone on big, sterile, fancy fishing boat, be able to encourage him to go with one of the fishermen and have a genuine experience of fishing, with one of the local fishermen. If someone comes here and is staying for, say, a week or so and has skill sets in, say, teaching, or they can go into the community, we'd like to facilitate that, work with the local schools, work with the computer labs that we help set up, work with a number of different community groups so that people can impart their information, because we're looking at a very active tourist, a different type of tourist who's genuinely interested in participating. And we believe very strongly that these people will come and to a limited extent be willing to be involved with the community at different levels.
And the farmers market, of course, is a perfect example of this.
Yes, the farmers market is one of our real pieces we're very proud of, because every Saturday we're hoping to get people from all around the community to come in, set up tents and be a part, really create a market environment where all our resort guests can come down and meet the local people, get engaged with them, buy fruits and vegetables and whatever else is being sold in the market.
And so your message to the public here in St. Kitts is?
I believe that there's a different type of tourism as possible. I believe that we can have tourism that is not corrosive or impactful on the social fabric of the country and positively contributes to the environment, both physical, social and economic environment.
Final question, Mr. Kemputu. Can you touch on the type of support that SIDF has given and how it's been able to keep the dream of Kittitian Hill alive, essentially?
Absolutely. I'm glad you raised that. The SIDF made a strategic investment in Kittitian Hill at a time when it was very difficult internationally to raise equity financing for a resort of this type because of the financial downturn. And they came in and made a strategic investment, which was very useful in getting the project to the next level. So we're very thankful for that. And that, coupled with the Citizenship Investment Program, has allowed the resort to go forward at times where still it's somewhat difficult to raise financing for large resort projects.
And so how will the investment essentially pay off for St. Kitts and Nevis?
I think the investment has created already a significant amount of construction jobs. It will create a significant amount of long-term employment. And then also, I think equally importantly, is the amount of entrepreneurial opportunities that we hope to create, as well as impacting on the food security and food supply of St. Kitts, because what I think the Ministry of Agriculture saw today was an opportunity for some of these new species to really significantly impact on the food supply here in St. Kitts.
Final comments?
I'm very grateful for the people of St. Kitts. I think the government has embraced the vision that I had for Kittitian Hill. What I was looking for is to really redefine the resort development model, and I was very grateful that the government here gave me the opportunity to do so.
The public sector touring party was headed by the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Nigel Carty. I also had the opportunity to talk to the Minister to get his thoughts on the priorities for agriculture, as well as his impression of Kittitian Hill. Minister Carty, first off, you've been Minister of Agriculture for a few months now. Tell us a bit about some of the priorities that you set coming into this office.
Thank you very much, Ian. And I really want to say thank you for the question, because I think that agriculture really holds a lot for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I am not satisfied that we in St. Kitts and Nevis have been capitalizing on the assets that we have to really move agriculture forward. First and foremost, I think that we need to get a lot of our farmers to become involved in what I would call commercial level or near commercial level farming. Too many of our young farmers are involved in farming on a scale that is not going to be sustainable, can't support themselves and their families. And I think what they want is real support from the Ministry of Agriculture and the government to ensure that they have access to land and they have access to the kinds of inputs that are really going to help them to move their agricultural practice forward. For example, we believe that with the high cost of fertilizer at this time, we are going to have to subsidize that. We have approached the Moroccan government for, I think, 60 metric tons of fertilizer, which will last us for the whole of this year and a good part of next year. For those who are in animal farming, livestock farming, it's going to be important that we give support there as well. We want to improve the genetic stock of the animals. After the animals continue to inbreed, over the years they lose their vigor and vitality. They become smaller, sometimes they're stillbirths and so forth. And so we want to give some support in that area. We want to upgrade the market and the abattoir to ensure that there's better processing of our animals and that the market can be a place where all can feel proud to go. Right now, a number of people don't go to the marketplace because the marketplace is not very welcoming. In addition to that, there is restriction in terms of parking space, so people don't feel the comfort of driving into a parking space at the market like they do at Rams or someplace else. So lots of people don't visit the market for that purpose. They just don't have the time to park their cars over at Port Zante and walk the public market. And so I think what we are going to do, yes, we're going to upgrade the public market as it is now, renovation, but our big plan really is to create a brand new multi-market space where there are meat sellers, produce sellers, but people who are also involved in the selling of their higher-end agricultural produce, like selling their jams and their jellies that would have gone through agro-processing, people selling their art and craft, their clothing and things like that. We believe that that is important. The other important thing really is to build the connection between the farming community and the tourism sector. This is where farmers are really going to make a living. I believe that farmers should be wealthy people because farming all over the world has been something that clearly has the potential to make people wealthy. And what I think we need is to open up those markets that have been difficult to open. I know we've had arrangements with Marriott which have not borne quite the fruit that we want them to bear because, again, there is need for consistency in producing high-quality goods over a period of time. And what we need is a collaboration among farmers, developing, making sure that we give the farmers the requisite support for them to be able to operate it in cooperative structures. And so those are a few of the things that we have for agriculture. I share the sentiment of Val Kempadu that we need to begin to make farmers feel that they're doing something that is worthwhile. Many people who are into farming and others who are not into farming and look at farmers doing their own work and feel as though farmers are not really doing anything that is of worth. That is something we really need to change. Farmers are, in fact, the most important people in my view because they're producing the very basic element that we require to sustain our lives. When I took the tour this morning, I was able to see that, in fact, there was a significant amount of effort being put into making sure that Kittitian Hill reflects an integration between tourism and agriculture. And that manifests itself in having quite an amount of effort being placed in ensuring that there are fruits and vegetables that become part of the landscape. I think that when the visitors come to St. Kitts and Nevis, they would expect that if they are coming to a resort which is promoting itself as a sustainable kind of hotel or resort arrangement where there is the promotion of organic fruits and vegetables, that when they come to this country, they expect to meet and consume just that. But Kittitian Hill is not going to be able to produce all that it needs to feed the thousands of tourists that will come through here. What we need is that close link with the farmers to ensure that they produce the right kind of stuff in the right kind of way so that their produce can be acceptable to the Kittitian Hill experience. And so we talk about organic farming, for example, and many of our farmers are going to have to take to this whole, well, for some of them, it's a new idea. For others, they have some experience in trying their hand at organic farming. So we expect that our farmers will benefit because the whole structure, the whole plan at Kittitian Hill is to ensure that there is the use and consumption of organic produce. I also believe that a lot of the local farmers are going to be working here themselves, the meat producers, the livestock farmers. We want those people to produce meat organically, whether it's the chicken, the goat, the sheep, and so forth. We talked earlier about the production of goat milk and the making of goat cheese. cottage cheese from goat milk. Those are the kinds of things that we really want people in St. Kitts and Nevis to see as opportunities for themselves. And I believe that the Kittitian Hill project resort provides a basis for us to move in that direction.
And of course, it's a private sector project. Is there anything that government can do to support Kittitian Hill and help to sensitize the farmers that, you can move into this and be successful?
Well, government has played quite a significant role already in the establishment of Kittitian Hill. And one of the things I've said to people, a lot of people seem not to know, is that when this idea of Kittitian Hill came about, not only did government provide the land for this to happen, some 400 acres, but at the early stages, perhaps particularly at the beginning of the financial crisis in 2008, when money was hard to come by, it was the SIDF that made significant inputs of fund into the Kittitian Hill projects to ensure that the project would go forward. And to date, over 300, 400 persons have been able to gain employment. We have seen this morning those persons who are involved in the construction phase of the project. There are persons doing landscaping, working on the development of the golf course, those who have been involved in tending to the nurseries, those who have been involved in the construction, doing the brickwork, cutting the stones, putting the stones on the wall and things like that. So quite a lot has been done. But I believe that going forward, we must ensure that there's a closer nexus between what the requirements of Kittitian Hill are and what our people must be expected to do. That is why Capistea Farms is so important, because Capistea Farm should be in a position well placed, in my view, to produce a lot of the fruits and vegetables that should be consumed here at Kittitian Hill. I believe that it's going to be very important for us, in partnership with Kittitian Hill, to begin to send a very clear message as to what the requirements of Kittitian Hill are going to be. If Kittitian Hill is going to be requiring that farmers begin to produce organic fruits and vegetables, that we sensitize the public as to that, work with our farmers to train them in the techniques and the requirements of organic farming. So there is a tremendous amount of work that we can do to ensure that farmers are sensitized and prepared to ensure that they can take advantage of the many opportunities which will arise here at Kittitian Hill. And
you actually jumped to my next question in terms of Capistea Farm. It's just basically down the road. How would you say that has been developing since it's been launched a few years ago?
Capistea Farm has been doing very well. I think over the last 2.5, 3 years since it was launched, not only has it employed quite a number of people, but we have had significant produce, peanuts and quite a variety of fruits and vegetables. The concept is still expanding and growing. I think that a lot of farmers have had the opportunity, young, small farmers, a lot of people who came out of the sugar industry, have been able to acquire the skills and the knowledge which can make them independent farmers, independent small farmers. And I know that quite a number of persons have, in fact, been working at Capistea Farms and doing their own agriculture, or have left Capistea Farms and doing their own agricultural practice full-time. And we are very happy that the project has been able to take us even one step closer to self-sufficiency in terms of agricultural produce. I think that what we need, as I said earlier, is a lot more collaboration among farmers as to how we cultivate and what we cultivate, so that we can meet some of the demands that we have here with respect to the consumption of fruits and vegetables. I don't see why, for example, we have to keep importing so much tomato and lettuce. Well, some types of lettuce, yes, varieties of lettuce, but certainly cucumbers, sweet peppers, and so on. I think that if we were to basically harmonize our efforts among farmers, we can produce what we need, if not for the full year, a significant part of the year.
Right, Minister, let me just go back to Kittitian Hill. You mentioned that SIDF contributed, and most persons, at least it's out there, suggest that it was a controversial decision for SIDF to invest in Kittitian Hill. Is that a fair characterization?
Well, it's certainly not a fair characterization. We recall that the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation and the fund were put in place really to help us to diversify the economy away from what was the sugar industry, to diversify the economy, to help to build other sectors of the economy. And what the SIDF was intending to do at that time was really to ensure that we could have started a project like this. And what did this project do to advance that objective of diversifying the economy? One, it took many, many persons who had been employed in the sugar industry and put them to work here at Kittitian Hill as landscapers, as nursery keepers, as builders, and what have you. And long-termly, what the investment provided, or has provided really, is the opportunity for us to have a 5-star hotel developed here in St. Kitts, something we don't have now. We don't have a 5-star hotel in St. Kitts. Nevis, at one time when Four Seasons was at its peak, was a 5-star hotel. Maybe that's where it is now, but certainly St. Kitts has not had a 5-star hotel. And what this gives us here in St. Kitts is an opportunity to boast a 5-star hotel and to provide opportunities for employment and for business for the people of not only St. Paul's, where this is located, but throughout the length and breadth of the country. And so I believe that this has done marvelous things for the people of the country. The investment has been well worth it, and I believe that if a decision like this were to be made again, particularly at a time when money was hard to come by from the financial markets, it would be made similarly.
Minister of Agriculture, the Honourable Nigel Carty. Just a quick footnote from our program. Since the taping, the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation has announced that it has since sold the shares it acquired in Belmont Resorts, the developer of Kittitian Hill. The shares were sold for $50 million to an unnamed Swiss investor. That's all for this edition of Perspectives. I'm Ian Richards. See you next week.
We're pleased that you joined us for this edition of SKNIS Perspectives. Join us every week at this same time on this radio station.
This program is produced by the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.